Today's devotional is entitled, How Do We Invest Our Time? In life, we are encouraged to be the best that we can, and from an early age, we're ingrained with the ideas that we're to be the absolute best we possibly can be. To only settle for perfection. And that life is to be lived to its fullest, the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But we all know that this life that we live in is filled with doubts, with remorse, with sadness. And so the question is how do we not settle for what the world offers and be conformed to its likeness? The real struggle is that we only get one shot at this. Because when we die, there's no opportunities for do-overs, no chances to say, hey, give me 5 more minutes in that world and I'll fix all the things that I needed to fix. I can fix one more thing in 5 minutes. Just give me 5 more minutes. We don't get that chance once we take our last breath. If we decide to take all of our chances and put them into a basket, but what basket do we put ourselves into? One of this world, a basket of this world, or one that is eternal? See, when we invest our time, we need to live for the correct time, which is eternal, but not the time that we live in now. And in Matthew 26:14-30, Jesus is telling the parable of the loaned money. And there is this man who gives 3 servants money to invest while he's on a trip. The one he gives 5 bags of gold, 1 2 bags, and the last one he gives 1 bag. And if we start in verse 16, Jesus says, the servant who received the 5 bags of gold began immediately to invest the money and soon doubled it. The servant with the 2 bags of gold also went right to work and doubled the money. But the servant who received 1 bag of gold dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money for safekeeping. After a long time, their masters returned from the trip and called them to give an account for how they used the money. The servant to whom he had entrusted the 5 bags of gold said, Sir, you gave me 5 bags of gold to invest, and I have doubled the amount. The master was full of praise. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling the small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. Next came the servant who had received the 2 bags of gold with the report, Sir, you gave me 2 bags of gold to invest, and I doubled that amount. The master said, Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. Then the servant with the 1 bag of gold came and said, Sir, I know you're a hard man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose the money, so I hid it in the earth, and here it is. But the master replied, You wicked and lazy servant. You think I'm a hard man? Do you? Harvesting crops I didn't plant and gathering crops I didn't cultivate? Well, you should at least have put my money in a bank so I could at least have some interest. Take the money from the servant and give it to the one with 10 bags of gold. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who are unfaithful, even with what little they have will be taken away. Now throw this useless servant into the outer darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now see, the third servant was only thinking of himself. His inward thinking had him thinking of the wrong time. He was just living in the moment. The time in this life where he should have been like these other 2 servants and investing for the next life, the eternal life, he was living for this life. See, when God gives us opportunities and gifts, we can't squander those opportunities or those chances that he gives us to showcase these gifts that he gives us. Because he will give us more and more when we invest in the gifts and our time and chances. See, our time, money, and abilities are not truly ours, but they're God's. We're not to ignore what he tells us to do, but to take every chance to do it to the best of our abilities. In Matthew 13:12, it says, to those who are open to my teachings, more understanding will be given. They will have an abundance of knowledge. But those who are not listening, Even what they have will be taken away from them. When we're in these moments in our lives, we need to also live for ordinary moments, but not for moments that bring about big change. These moments of ordinary moments give us an opportunity to showcase and share the gospel and the love for people and everyone. In Matthew 26:31-46, Jesus speaks of the final judgment that everyone will have and the final judgment before the Father. See, he's going to separate everyone as the shepherd, and one side being sheep and the other side being the goats. And if we start in verse 34, it says, "Then the king will say to the ones on the right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you for the foundation of the world. For I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you invited me into your home. I was naked and you gave me clothing. I was sick and you cared for me. I was in prison and you visited me.' Then the righteous ones will reply, 'Lord, when did we ever see you hungry or feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you as a sick or in prison and visit you?' And the king will tell you, 'I assure you, when you did it to the least of my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me.' And then the king will turn to those on the left and say, 'Away with you, you cursed ones, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his demons. For I was hungry and you did not feed me. I was thirsty and you did not give me anything to drink. I was a stranger and you didn't invite me into your home. I was naked and you gave me no clothing. I was sick and in prison and you didn't visit me.' Then they replied, 'Lord, when did we ever see you hungry or thirsty or stranger or naked or sick or in prison and not help you?' And he's going to answer, 'I assure you, when you refuse to help the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you are refusing to help me. And they will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous will go into eternal life.'" You see, when we invest our time, our resources, money, we need to do it in these ordinary moments to expand the kingdom. We have to help people out in ordinary moments that become extraordinary results. When we see somebody that needs clothing, when we see somebody that needs food or drink, or visit somebody that's sick or in prison, we need to go help these people. That is what we're called to do. See, Proverbs 14:31 says, "Those who oppress the poor insult their maker, but those who help the poor honor him." So how do we invest our time? We have to invest our time in the lives, in the correct moments all around us. We have to live for the eternal, not the now. And live in the ordinary moments, not the extraordinary moments, the moments that just seem mundane, or the moments that God's light shines the brightest. John 9:4 says, "All of us must quickly carry out the tasks assigned to us by the one who sent me, because there's little time left before the night falls, and all work comes to an end." So guys, how do we invest our times on this earth? Because we only get one chance. We only get one opportunity. There's no do-overs. There's no chance to say on your deathbed, "I wish I'd done this." Do it now. You have the energy. You have the resources. God is going to give you what you need to accomplish more than you can think or even is manageable or possible. I really butchered that verse, but you get what I'm trying to say. So guys, invest in our time and invest in moments where we can showcase the love of God. That is our devotional for today. How do we invest our time?